Yeah, happy Wednesday. We made it through hump day. And yeah, I realized I haven't done a live this week yet. I don't think I did any last week. Oh my gosh. The girls were on spring break last week, and so I'm like, okay, cool. I will take the week off as well because I'm kind of like, well, we don't get this time with them all the time. Oh, I'm hearing myself and seeing myself. I don't like that. Go away. um, but it was so friggin' busy. Like Monday, we took the kids to get their passports. 2 of the 3 got their passports because in all the hustle bustle of everything, I didn't print off one of the applications. So, but I made another appointment. So we'll get that taken care of. And then Herschel and I had to go and get our real IDs, because I don't necessarily always want to fly with my passport, especially if just domestic stuff. And I'm traveling in June, so I needed to make sure that I got the real ID taken care of so that I can fly. So we did that, and then we had a bunch of stuff going on for the studio. Herschel's immersive art experience opened. It wasn't, this past weekend was the second weekend, but we had a lot of other stuff for that. We had a steering committee meeting and like a little opening reception. So we had an event at the studio, so I had to get stuff for that. So it was just every single day had me running all over the city. And that city is Tacoma. And we were just sitting here after eating dinner, and we were watching some videos of, realtors and all these videos on Tacoma. And the funny thing is that in these realtors videos, I don't even know their names, so I'm not even going to mention them anyway. And I'm kind of talking trash anyway, so I'm not going to call them out. But they're a dime a dozen. Throw a dart and you'll land on one. But it's really funny because these realtor videos, they start out like their little YouTube intros. It's all freaking Seattle stuff. It's like their fancy little drone shots of the Space Needle and drone shots of Seattle. It's like, but you're trying to talk about Tacoma. And then the things that they talk about Tacoma, and I just, I'm not going to repeat some of the things because I'm just like, I'm so flabbergasted that these words even exited this person's mouth, but just things that you don't say about things anymore. I know I'm being very vague. It floors me. Like, people are like, well, my friend lives in Tacoma and he says not to drive in this neighborhood and these streets. And it's like, and make sure you plug your nose when you drive through Tacoma because there's the aroma of Tacoma. It hasn't been around for a long time, and they decommissioned. So there was a paper mill that processed paper pulp and all that stuff, and it did give off a smell because that's industry. That's a byproduct of the industry. It was right along the tide flats in by the port, and yeah, it did stink. But I have also lived in other places that stunk. We had growing up in Shelbyville, Indiana, tiny ass small town, we had a place called Boss Back that like processed animal, can I say carcass? Animal byproducts.
Well, also, my hometown, Bowling Green, has Hills, the pet food thing. Like, it smells like...
Oh, Hills Science Diet.
Yeah, it smells like a massive pile of dog.
And I will say the aroma of Seattle is not from industry. The aroma of Seattle is from pee on the streets. Like, it straight smells like pee in the streets, especially after it rains. It's disgusting. So all these people talking about the aroma of Tacoma and blah, 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 this and blah, blah. It's like, I'm kind of okay with these videos being out there because if that means that there's less people who are going to have bad attitudes like they have, we don't want them here. Honestly, like, We want people who want to be here, not just because the housing is cheaper here than it is in Seattle or in King County. But it's just, okay, sorry, there's, oh, that one went away. It's hard to find good content on anything. It's either realtor videos or negative videos. Hard to know who to trust. Exactly. Like, I feel like we put out, like, real videos. Like, I say this to everyone, and I will continue to say it, but I lived in Shelbyville. I lived in Greenwood, Indiana. I lived in Indianapolis. I lived downtown. I lived in Canby. Don't recommend that. I lived in the north side of Indianapolis. Then we lived in Albuquerque. Then we lived in Rio Rancho. Then we lived in Seattle. And now we live in Tacoma. Like, I've been in multiple places, multiple states, multiple regions of the US. And I will say, hands down, I will go to bat for Tacoma. Tacoma feels more like home than any other place that I've ever lived. Like, home where I grew up, that's not home. We were just talking about this the other day, that like, I will only go back to Shelbyville because none of my family's there anymore. Like, my parents moved out of there, gosh, I don't know, 15 years or so ago. Yeah, something like that. So there's really no reason for me to go back. But I have said, because the girls have never been there. They've been to Bowling Green. They've been to Smith Grove, where Herschel grew up. So they've seen that. They've seen where he's grown up. They've seen Indianapolis. They've seen, like, downtown and the college and everything. But they haven't seen where I grew up. And so I'm like, okay, I will go back. I will show them the house I grew up in. I will show them my high school and, like, the tiny little Dairy Queen where we used to sit on the cow, because that's pretty much all that was there. And I'll show them. And that'll probably be the only time that I ever need to return to Shelbyville. Again, Shelbyville's not home. Indiana is not home. Tacoma is the place that feels like home. And I'm not being paid to say that. Of all the places we've lived, this just feels good. And it's not for everyone. And there are some things that annoy me. And I think the things that annoy me are more like Pacific Northwest things, or being in Western Washington sometimes. Like, sometimes it can be that people are maybe a little too progressive, in that it kind of gets in the way of things. Like, okay, like, we can't sit here and nitpick every single thing. But again, that's a Pacific Northwest thing. That's not a specific Tacoma thing. I don't go back to Michigan for the same reason. Where you have comfort and family is your true home. Absolutely. Weigukin! Oh my gosh! Hey! It's so good to, like, see the old homie names. And Quincy got excited too. So yeah, it's just, it is funny to me that these Seattle realtors, because the market up there is drying up, and there's lack of affordability up there. And so they're like, oh, well, for the average family, like we are, and other families who maybe aren't making their money in tech. And I will say too, that some of the tech jobs are not as happening as they were. The computer science industry, software engineering, it's taken a hit. And I've also been seeing that as a trend in the work that I do. But there's been so many layoffs, and so some of the big companies, it's not all that it's cracked up to be. And so these realtors are like, well, we got to keep our job. We got to keep selling houses. So they're moving down into Pierce County and trying to sell houses. And then they're trying to do, the pros and cons and the top 10 things about it. And it's nonsense. They're talking about Cops and the show Cops, and how it's like, they're talking about it from a Tacoma standpoint. Yeah, it's near Tacoma. It was filmed in Lakewood. Lakewood is a suburb of Tacoma. Like all these other places, they're suburbs of our city. And I wouldn't even say, would you say that we're a suburb of Seattle?
We're not.
We're not a suburb of Seattle. So these other cities, Puyallup, Lakewood, These are
suburbs of us.
Yeah, they're suburbs of us. They all your base belong to us. um but I don't know, it's just really funny. And like somebody in another video is like, they have a hospital. No shit, Sherlock. Like we have a medical mile. It's in Hilltop. We are building a brand new children's hospital. And the part of the hospital that is Mary Bridge now is going to be absorbed into Tacoma General. So the services, the medical services that we're able to provide the community is much better. And even still, like in some of the other communities, because I will say, finding doctors is hard, and that's in this state. Even though it's so populated, there's so many people, finding a doctor and getting into a doctor, oh my gosh, you have to plan in advance 6 months to be sick. Like, let's see, today is April. I'm gonna be sick in September, so let me make an appointment now. Honestly, we've just kind of learned to, for certain things, like just go to urgent care. It's mostly covered. I pay a small copay, but otherwise, like trying to get into the doctor, it's a little bit tricky, probably because there's more people that have moved to the area and all that stuff. But so we do go to Puyallup for some of our medical stuff. Like the girl's pediatrician is there. I recently had to do a sleep study, and the sleep study center was in Puyallup, so I had to go and pick stuff up there. I didn't have to like stay overnight and like be connected to the little alien hat or anything like that, but I had to do it here at home. But you know, we have a whole medical mile. Then they talk about the military base. And like, yes, Tacoma is a very military town, but I would say a lot of people in the military will choose to live in Lakewood. They live in Spanaway. They live like out. They live in Lacey. Like Lacey's a suburb of Olympia, I guess, right? You'd say Lacey's a Olympia suburb.
Yeah.
But, you know, and there are people that live in Tacoma, obviously, that are employed by the military, but there's so much more in Tacoma than just these random things that they're like trying to pull out of their hat of like, I don't know much about Tacoma, so let me see. Oh, they got a hospital. Oh, there's a military base. Like, it's just, come on, don't sell Tacoma if you don't know it. And clearly you don't know it. Like, I just, anyway.
Wow.
I felt strongly enough.
Well, you know, I told them, you know, I only do one clap back a year, and somebody laughed at that. I try to limit it to one clap back, but that has nothing to do with you. So this is your clap back.
This is my clap back, I guess. So true. I switched to accounting due to the tech recession, so I can't imagine how it's impacting a big tech market like Seattle. Yeah, I mean, you know, all these people, like, so I've been in my current role, recruiting for engineering and technology. I've been in this role for 3 years, and there's been a big shift in the amount of students that come to me and say, hey, I want to do computer science. I want to do computer science. And now those students that probably would have been saying computer science are now saying, hey, I've seen what the job market looks like, and I probably want to go information technology. Because information technology, you get like, that's more like you're able to go cybersecurity, but also all places have IT people. School districts, hospitals, big companies, small companies, government, you know, private, public, like everybody needs tech professionals, IT professionals. So that is a pretty lucrative area. Also, I'm seeing an uptick in engineering. So not saying that computer science is completely dying, but there is a transition of like, they're realizing that AI can help with coding. So there's less emphasis that is needed on people to code because the tools that they've created can do that essentially. So there is going to be an uptick in AI and being able to work within that. And I'm not saying that computer science is a completely dead industry, because it's not, but it's hard for our current graduates who are coming out with a 4-year degree and they're competing for jobs, for software engineering jobs, but there's people who have been laid off from software engineering jobs, and they're competing against people with 5 to 10 years experience. So there's that too, that it all is a trickle down effect. It's not about finding the perfect place. It's about finding the perfect place for you. Just because a place has a glamorous name, it doesn't mean that it will give you what you need from a city. Absolutely. 100%. And again, like Tacoma, I titled this video kind of tongue in cheek because I knew people would be like, oh, but I thought they loved Tacoma. I do. And I will say, I probably love Tacoma more than Herschel loves Tacoma. I think there's more things that frustrate Herschel about Tacoma than what frustrate me. But again, that's in the industry and that's the work that we're doing. So there's that. But yeah, I mean, we also got enamored with the big name of Seattle. But honestly, like Seattle just wasn't it. It's nice. It's got fun things to do, cool things to do. But honestly, when we lived there, like we didn't really go downtown a whole lot. Maybe occasionally, once every couple of months, we'd venture down. We'd go down on a Sunday because free parking on Sundays. And we'd mostly go to the International District. There was a cute little produce stand in the International District. Well, not a stand, like a little produce warehouse that we used to go to. And we'd go to International District and hang out. But also, like, Seattle has changed since after the pandemic and after all of the social unrest. It's changed. And so it's definitely not the Seattle that we lived in. But after having lived in Tacoma, like, I could never go back to Seattle. No, I don't want to. I groan if I have to, like, drive to Seattle or if I have to go to Seattle for something. It's like, ugh. All right, here we go. It is kind of fun, but I will say the last time I think we went up there was when my dad was here in August, and we went up there. We took the train, which that was really fun. And took him around. It sucked because it was all rainy and everything, and cold in August. So that kind of sucked, but it was overall okay. But even for my dad, like I think my dad was a little overwhelmed. Just the all of the hustle and bustle. But yeah, so I don't know. Anyway, I know that Tacoma is not for everyone, and that's okay because we don't we don't want everyone. I mean, it's fine now because like we're homeowners. So it's the market is a little is pretty competitive. I don't know that it's as competitive as the Seattle market, but there's the affordability factor. Like it's a lot more affordable here than it is in King County, and it's more affordable in Pierce County. I also think it's funny that folks in Seattle love to claim Mount Rainier. I mean, Mount Rainier doesn't belong to anyone, right? Mount Rainier belongs to Mother Earth. But Mount Rainier is in Pierce County. Tacoma is in Pierce County. Seattle, they're in King County. So we actually do have a national park in our backyard. So there's that. People in Seattle really like to lay claim to the mountain. And it's our mountain. We have better views of it too. But anyway, I think I've been snarky enough about that. Let's see. So yeah, it's just been spring break was really busy. Overwhelmingly so. But things are good. The girls are back in school. I'm back to work. I think the last time I did a video, I had done a video on the same day that I hosted like 100 middle school students. Today I hosted like 65 middle school students. And we had a career fair. And what else? I don't remember what else. But it was a busy day at work. I have to work on Saturday. So I won't be able to be there at the at Kai's room. Oh, so we have a new development with Kai's room. We just have to figure out how we want to do it. But at this point, it's been open for 2 weekends now. And I think Herschel's come to the conclusion that we're going to try to keep it free. So it won't be a paid attraction. That will hopefully it will hopefully be sustained on donations and grant funding. But at least will be open through the end of May. So I think I will probably do a live stream and do a walkthrough at some point of Kai's room. Again, like if you've ever been to an immersive art experience like a Meow Wolf or an Otherworld or Factory Obscura mixtape, seeing immersive art on a camera, it is totally not the same as being able to see it in person. So the footage will not do it justice, but it still looks pretty damn cool. We have had so many folks come through in the last 2 weekends, and it is quite the it's quite the thing to see and to witness, and to know that it came from the brainchild of, or it is the brainchild of Herschel, and just all his hard work, his dedication, his vision. I don't have that. I'm like, I don't know. I'll see it when it shows up, and boy, do I see it! Like it is so freaking cool. So I will do a live stream or do a video and walk through so that you guys can at least kind of see what it's like. But it is very, very exciting to see how the community is showing up for it, and how excited that they are that something like this has actually taken hold and is a real thing. So, okay.
I was going to ask you, do you think that traffic is getting worse? I say this because I had a meeting today, and I went there around 3 o'clock, which obviously you're getting close to rush hour traffic and rush hour times. So I think for some people that may start at 2 o'clock.
Well, if they're like first shifters, if they're, yeah.
So I go there to the bank, and, the lady's doing her thing, and I'm like, because I'm setting up a whole thing for my nonprofit. And so then as I leave, I go down the street, and right there on Pack Avenue, right in front of UW, like it was gridlock. I mean, it's just a single street because there's street parking, then there's the light rail in the middle. So there's just one lane, and these buses are all like cattywampus in the middle of the street, like in a zigzag. And literally, like the light changed and nobody moved.
Yeah.
It was like backed up the whole way. So from the light all the way back to where the hotel, you can see the hotel, it was just backed up.
Were you there at, what is it, 21st Street, 19th Street? Were you right by Soda?
Yes.
21st Street. So the reason for that is that 21st Street's closed. So all that traffic that normally comes off of I-5, 705, all of that converges, a lot of times the traffic is going up the hill on 21st Street, and that's closed down until like May. So that's part of the reason why there's that gridlock there, I bet. Because when I leave, like where I park, in the, like by the hotel and stuff, I'm going the opposite. Like I'm not going down Pack Ave. I'm going all like alleys and side streets until I go out on South Tacoma Way, and then I get on Pack Ave.
Oh, gee.
So I bypass Pack Ave, and I don't even go, when I go into work, I also turn on South Tacoma Way. Or 25th? No, not 25th Street. South Tacoma Way. So right there by the little Orange Box Cafe.
Yeah.
I turn there and then go up and around to get to where I park.
Yeah,
So I completely bypass all of the like downtown traffic.
Normally I didn't do that until recently, but like it's starting to get more chaotic right there at that corner. 25th and Pack is becoming a little more chaotic.
Yeah.
So yeah, I turn right there.
Traffic is definitely increased. I will say, like, sometimes like it would take me, sometimes with no traffic, I can get to work from home. I can get there in 9 minutes. And then some other days it's like 15, 16 minutes, which I know I sound like spoiled that's my traffic, but I feel the difference. Like, it's almost double the time of what it normally takes me. And yeah, I don't have a 45-minute commute because trust and believe, I've been there before. when we lived in Albuquerque, like we were in the car for probably 3 hours a day, taking Zoe to daycare, then going downtown to work, going to get Zoe on the east side, going back home in Rio Rancho. Like, it was rough. We were in the car for like 3 hours a day, usually. So, in Indianapolis, like the same thing. Like, when I was in college, I commuted from Shelbyville to Indianapolis. So I had, I don't know, like a 45 minute commute every single day. So I've been there, I've done that. And that's why I don't want to move, because everything that I need is like within a 3 to 5 mile radius. So I know how everything, the funny thing is that, if something is outside of that range, I'm like, ooh, that's too far. And I think I've talked about this before, but it's like, if it's like 7 miles, I'm like, ooh, that's a little, that's a little out there. And I think twice about it. Just because I'm comfortable now. Like, everything that I need, my work, the studio, the grocery store, all that stuff is all within 3 to 5 miles. So usually everything is like 15 to 20 minutes max. So yeah, I don't want to be in traffic.
Do you think that traffic has increased? Like, if you, I don't know, go back to when we first moved here, if you can kind of recall, is it taking longer to get to the grocery store at the same time? It's taking longer to get to work, or about the same time?
Well, I said my commute has increased from like 9 minutes to like 15 minutes. Sometimes it's like a 12-minute, takes me about 12 minutes. But yeah, there has been added traffic. And there was one time I made the mistake of trying to go south on Pacific, and I forget where I was going. Oh, I was going down to Tractor Supply in Spanaway, and because I had to get chicken feed. And I decided to go at like 5:30. Never again. And I repeat, never again. It took me like, and that is like 7 miles, but that took me like 40 minutes just to get there. And just with traffic, because there was just so much, because like I said, there's a lot of people that move to Spanaway, because Spanaway is there's still space, and it's developing and growing. But that was so annoying. And I tend to be a little bit on the angry side when I drive. I tend to get a little bit of road rage. I talk to people in the other cars, like, what are you doing? I don't flip people off, and I learned not to honk anymore. Because I had a whole scary situation with honking. But that's another story for another day. And I'm sure I've probably told it on here before. But yes, traffic has increased. But for the grocery store, I don't know. What I see in the grocery store is that the lines are longer, and so it takes longer to get through the lines. I don't know, fewer cashiers. I don't know what it is. More people, I guess, just more volume. But because the grocery store I go to is only like, is it even a mile away?
What?
The grocery store? I don't think it's even a mile.
Maybe right at a mile.
Maybe like 3/4 of a mile.
Maybe.
So it's really not that far, and it's all side streets mostly that I'm taking. But yeah. So again, Tacoma is not for everyone, but it is right for me. All right. Well, I think this will be a shorter video, because I think that's all I wanted to say. I just had to get that off my chest. It it was
therapy. You just,
woo, yes.
You started it off at your voice level. I'm curious if someone could go through and just have a little meter.
The decibels. My watch did not tell me that this was a loud environment. Sometimes it does. Somebody asked, have you been to T&T Supermarket in Seattle? I've never heard of it. Where's it at in Seattle? And if it's been in the last 8 years, probably not. Sometimes you just have to vent and that's okay. Yeah. I mean, I feel better. I just don't want people like,
Well, the thing is,
can I,
they don't really know. A lot of these people don't know Tacoma that well. These are realtors and folks that don't really know.
can I be a potty mouth or is that poo pooed?
I mean, they pretty much YouTube's a little more relaxed than it used to be, I guess.
Okay. I just don't want people shitting on Tacoma
Oh,
that
I've been
don't,
saying that.
what?
Yeah, I've been saying that. I've been saying
Okay.
that.
I won't drop my F-bombs. I'll save that for off camera. For those of you that don't know, and most of you don't, I tend to talk like a sailor. I'm just very expressive. And fun fact, they say that people who use cuss words have have higher intelligence. So
I think you messed it up before you said that.
so anyway, I'll take that. I drive for me and cars on the road. I could never allow another driver get me that upset. I pray for patience daily. Misty, you are way better than me. Whoo, Lordy, do I get worked up on the road. Um, yeah, I just, mm-mm. I would not be able to handle a long commute. Especially because I just feel like everybody's an a-hole. Like, I just do. um, but yeah, so forget what I was gonna say. Were you talking about something?
Mm-mm. Just the traffic, that was all.
Mm. Oh yeah, the realtors. Like they just don't know. I mean, it's like if I was trying to talk about Olympia. I've only driven through Olympia. I've never really been there. I mean, I guess maybe they know the area a little bit more than what I know Olympia, but it's like, you know, you're just listening to the lore, right? Like you're listening to the rumor mill, and it's not like that. And again, like Tacoma is not for everyone. Um, but and there are parts of Tacoma that I wouldn't want to live either. Um, for various reasons. But I don't want people unnecessarily shitting on Tacoma, or like they're trying to talk Tacoma up but they're talking shit about it. Like it makes no sense. It's like, well, Tacoma's a great place to live, but you got to look out for these 10 things. It's like, okay, we can do that for any city. Like I don't know. Realtor videos, man. They really get me. And then it's like all your drone footage, all your fancy little drone footage is all of Seattle.
Well, I think some of them, I remember when I first started doing YouTube, there was hardly anyone talking about Tacoma. There was like one realtor who she talked about Tacoma. That was it. Nobody really did videos about Tacoma. I mean, you would find some stuff, but it was whatevs.
Hang on, I gotta get my drink.
And so, when I started talking about Tacoma, people really liked it because they're like, cool, someone's actually talking about the city. We're curious about it. We don't know much about it. And I didn't know much about Tacoma. I had to do a lot of research. And us coming down from Seattle to check it out, because there's plenty of stuff about Seattle. There was nothing about Tacoma. So just basically visiting Tacoma often enough gave me enough to say, you know what, this is a pretty decent city. Quincy quit.
Yeah. But I think it's also like, are there just people not talking about Tacoma in general?
What are you talking about?
Or like, are there not enough people talking about Tacoma in general? Like, there's a lot of people. I mean, we watch people in New York all the time.
Yeah, you don't have that. I mean, Seattle barely has videos of people talking about the city and, where to live and life in Seattle. You have some of that, but there's not a huge market for it. Here in Tacoma, it just does not exist. And I think it would do very well if there was someone that talked about, life living downtown or life living in the stadium district or wherever.
I think it's also different than if all the videos that you're seeing about Tacoma are realtors videos or somebody that has something to gain from it. Then they're obviously going to have a different take on it. Like, we're just talking about our lives and how we interact and how we live in Tacoma and how all of that, how we function here. And we have nothing to gain from it other than to share the information. But I will say, and I think I probably repeat myself in my lives a lot, but oh well. Um, uh, we were at the mall and there was somebody that was like, "Hey, is your husband Hirsch?" And I was like, "Mm-hmm." And they're like, "Oh my gosh, we watched your videos and they helped us move here." And they've lived here for like 7 years or something like that. But like, I am totally cool with like sharing information and people being able to utilize it for good in that way of understanding, like, is this the right place? Is it not the right place? But from a realtor standpoint, like, we have nothing to lose and nothing to gain, but other than just sharing about our community. But yeah, it really riles me. And we were talking the other night and we came up with the notion that like Tacoma is where the underdogs come to win. Like, I feel like that should be on a t-shirt. Um but it really feels like that. I mean, we are nicknamed the Grit City, right? Like, we're the city of destiny, but to locals, we're Grit City. And it really is. That's so true. Like,
Well,
to,
we're basically one of those. I'm going to do a video about this. It's a complimentary city because it complements Seattle. Like, we're not a suburb. We're not like Bellevue, which is kind of basically just an edge city of Seattle. We're a complete separate entity. We have the same institutions that Seattle has. We just don't have as many. So we're complementing that, and the way that we complement it is that we offer all of that for much less price, right? That's basically what that compliment is. And so just doing a little bit more diving deep and all that. Look, we're entering into that whole new wave city. Like, it's a city where it's kind of trendy to kind of move to. People don't want the rat race of a bigger city. They don't want the expense of a bigger city, so they choose these cities that offer that. And typically, they offer stuff like arts. And if you look at cities that kind of form that, they're some of the more desirable places. So yeah, Tacoma's got a way to go, and there's a lot of issues that are there, but there's also a ton of benefits and great things about the city that rarely get told.
yeah.
People list all of the 5 top points, and sometimes I do videos talking about this. They talk about the 5 top things that are everywhere, but they don't talk about all the great things. They don't talk about like the 2 chocolate companies or candy companies that are here in the city. One
Almond
is
Roca, Brown and Haley,
them, and then also ones in Hilltop. It is
Johnson Candy Company.
There you go. They don't talk about that. They don't talk about
They don't talk about UWT, the University of Washington in Tacoma, that is downtown, that basically revitalized the whole south end of downtown. They don't talk about that either.
Yeah, there's just a lot of different things that is not really mentioned, and the number of theaters that we have.
Mm-hmm.
They don't talk about all that stuff. So I think that, and still that we still do have. I think it's basically because they have been only in Seattle, or that's their main frame of reference. And so you kind of are in your bubble. You know that Tacoma exists, there's stuff to do, but you don't really know much because you don't really come to the city and embed yourself. You go to the same touristy areas. You don't really navigate the city and be a tourist. Seattleites get a lot of other people that come and be tourists in their city, but they don't really come and be tourists in cities outside of themselves typically.
Mm-mm. Yeah, that's right. And I guess, again, like, I really value Tacoma because it's scrappy, and I think at the heart of it, I'm scrappy. Like, I am a bit of an underdog sometimes, I feel like. And the things that we're able to do in this city of this size, like, we're over 200,000 people. It's not a small city. But the things that we're able to do, like me and Herschel, like, little old us, And oh, sorry, I was holding the camera weird because the dog was gonna knock it over. But the things that we're able to do and how we're able to impact the community, you wouldn't get this in any of the other cities that we lived in. And so I just, for that, I have so much love for the city and how the community shows up and supports the community itself. Is really a magical thing to see. You know, like we have the monkey shines. Like nobody talks about that because they don't know Tacoma. But there's a project, and they create these monkey shines, and they're blown glass creations. They're like blown glass balls with a symbol. It always Oreo. It always coincides with the Lunar New Year. And so, you know, this year was Year of the Snake. So all the stuff related to it was snake stuff. But even beyond the actual group that started the monkey shines, it has grown beyond that to where you now have rogue monkey shiners and people who just want to be a part of the fun and the hysteria around it, and bring joy to the community. That's really what it does, is because they will say, okay, the monkey shines are out, and the whole city comes alive to go and hunt for these monkey shines. And it is truly, truly a treasure if you are lucky enough to find one. My boss actually found one on campus, by a trash can, of all places. It was like hidden secretly behind. I still have not found one yet. I hope to someday. But I have found a couple of rogue monkey shine things. And so the rogue monkey shines are just regular people who are like, hey, let's get in on the fun, and maybe they'll paint rocks, or maybe they'll put little kits together of just random things, and they will hide those out in the community as well. And like, that's what I love about Tacoma. And monkey shines is a big part of Tacoma, and the fact that like I haven't seen any of that on these videos because people who talk about moving here or living here, they don't really know Tacoma. See, now my voice went up again. And very firm. Okay, so I missed some comments. Misty, oh, you're still talking about traffic. I visited my sister in Dallas a few months ago, and the road rage was horrible. Ooh, I can imagine. You know, they drive reckless in Texas. I never knew my sister was that aggressive while driving. Scary, yeah. Waygukin, a lot of times the cities that people rag on end up being the best places to move to and the best real estate investments for the future. Sometimes you have to think long term, not short term. Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yes. It's all about your perspective and how you're looking at things too. But man, I gotta say, I love Tacoma. This is my city. Yeah. Okay. I think I'm actually talked out.
You're like, yeah, I'm done.
Like I said, I had talked to 65 middle schoolers. I had to give a campus tour to them. Then we had the career fair. They talked to people. I actually talked to 2 people about going into social work. Totally unrelated to what I was doing at the career fair. But one of my students was asking me questions for his girlfriend. And then one of my colleagues was asking me about the MSW and was talking about that. Made some connections for Herschel for potential things. Talked to somebody else about some projects. So I'm talked out. But it's so much. I was so passionate about watching these stupid videos that people were putting out about Tacoma. And yeah. But anyway, I think that's it. I did a Target order because Easter is Sunday. We don't celebrate it in the religious sense, but we always do an egg hunt. So I actually have to get into this is like a little closet that goes behind me. I don't think I've ever done a video back in the bedroom. We're in the bedroom. But I'm
Not yet.
maybe. But I'm sitting on a little bench And I like it because you can see my pretty little picture that I painted. Here, I'll tilt it up. That's Gateway Arch National Park. Herschel got me these paint by number kits. And I think I did a pretty good job on it. And then I have another one over here, right there, that I just finished the other night. I have the next one that I'm going to start on. Oh, well, actually, I have another project I'm working on. I have this guy that I'm painting, and I'm painting it. I did the background in black, and I'm painting it with neon colors so it will glow under the black light so it can go in Kai's room. So that's the project I'm working on right now. And then my next paint by number is Mount Rainier. So I'm excited about that. But I got to get into the closet to look for the eggs, because we always do an egg hunt. And I just placed an order at Target for all the stuff to fill their Easter baskets too. So, because they all get Easter baskets with stuff, goodies. And then the egg hunt, the way it goes and the way we've done it, because with 3 kids, things can be a little challenging. So the way we do it is everybody is able to find, we want everybody to find all the eggs. So I have to remember how many eggs I hid or how many eggs we hide. We've been doing it outside because the weather's been nice, but we have to keep track of how many eggs we hide. Everybody goes and finds them. If somebody finds 30 and somebody else finds 5, cool, it's fine. It's not a big deal because all the eggs then come together and we split all the eggs evenly. So that way everything's fair. They share everything. I do usually do a few special eggs where I'll put money in it, but I'll put the same amounts of money in the eggs. And so that I know, like, okay, everybody should have 2 of these eggs and 2 of these eggs because they're like special eggs. So that it's fair. And that's the way we've done it since they've been little. And that's the way we'll continue to do it. And it works. It keeps the peace. They're excited. Again, it doesn't matter if somebody goes and finds the majority of the eggs. But you know, I mean, they're all getting bigger, but they're still pretty good about, like, especially Zoe will be like, oh, there's one, and we'll point it out to Zeta. Although she doesn't need much help these days anymore. But that's how we do our egg hunt so that it is fair. And then, yeah, that's kind of how it goes. So I placed my Target order for Drive Up because ain't nobody have time to go into the store to get stuff. So I got to go and pick that stuff up and maybe get some ice cream. I'm feeling some ice cream. Let's see. Shavkat, hello. How's it going? Thanks for joining. But yeah, so anyway, I think that's how I gotta spend the rest of the evening. It's 8 o'clock. It's probably like 11 o'clock for some of y'all. So it's probably Betty Bye time for some of you. And the girls are knocking at the door. So I think I'm going to wrap it up and call it a night. It was great to see you guys. Thanks for the interaction. As always, this is why I love doing live streams. And I'll see you when I see you. Okay, bye.